the one, the only Benzion.
Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun with Benzion. Today we're doing Masechah Sotah Daf Chafei number 25. I want to talk today briefly about Masechah Sotah. Sotah is about a woman who is warned and secludes herself. She has the din of a Sotah. Now, we learned in the first Mishnah, passing the Rabbi Yeshua, you need two Eidim for the Kinoi and two Eidim for the Stira. He has to warn her in front of two people, not to seclude herself with so-and-so. And then there have to be two Eidim that she secluded herself with so-and-so for a certain amount of time, the amount of time it takes for Bia. They didn't see that she actually committed adultery, but they saw her secluded with this man. So therefore, the whole din of Sotah, the whole Masechta, that's what it talks about. You have to go to Yerushalayim, she has to drink the Mei Sotah in order to prove whether she's guilty or innocent. Now, is cheating on your husband, the Parsha of Sotah, which is basically adultery, that's what we're dealing with, is it similar to other arayos in the Torah, not other arayos in the Torah? Now, other arayos in the Torah, for example, in Parsha Acharei Moshe Kedoshim, it talks about, next week's Parsha, Acharei Moshe Kedoshim, it talks about all the different arayos in the Torah. It calls them toeva, abominations, being together with your mother, with your sister, your wife's sister. All these things are abominations, with your daughter, your aunt, things like that. We know, Masechah Zivon, we talked about those things. Those are called toevos, crumbled abominations. Ostensibly, the Isser is you're rebelling against Hashem. Hashem doesn't want you to be together with a woman you're not really so attracted to. However, is cheating on a woman cheats on her husband. A lot of people cheat on their wives, on their husbands. If you cheat on your wife is not Sotah, because a man can be married to two different women, but a woman, she can't be married to two different men, so she cheats on her husband. It's adultery. Cheating on her husband, she probably doesn't like her husband very much. That's why she's cheating on her husband. She enjoys the other person. It's not really so much an abomination like the other arayos. It really makes sense what she's doing. It's not an abomination. It's disgusting what she's doing. However, it's not right. She's rebelling against her husband. She has to be faithful and loyal to her husband. She can't do that to her husband. If she wants to marry a different man, she has to demand a get and marry someone else. She can't just cheat. That's why it's called cheating on her husband. You don't tell him you're cheating. If you want to do it the right way, get a divorce and marry the other man. So she's cheating on her husband. So the pasuk, when it comes to Sotah, I remember from Yohanan Sachs, I talked about him last night. He was one of my first rebbeim in Yeshiva University. The pasuk says uniquely when it comes to Sotah, adultery, it calls Mala Mal B'Hashem. It's a double language. Mala Mal B'Hashem. Mal is a rebellion. You stole, you misappropriated from Hashem. One of them is rebelled against Hashem, which is like any other arayos. Well, there's double language over here. Really, it's a rebellion against the husband also, because you're rebelling against the husband. So there's a discussion in the Gemara today. The Gemara says that a husband, he warns his wife. And then he says, you know what? I don't want to make my wife usher. I'm going to retract my warning. He could retract it, the Gemara says. What about could he retract it after she was secluded? Right? Before she's secluded, he definitely could retract it. What about after seclusion? So Machlokas at the end of the daf, the Gemara seems to say, Paskin, that after seclusion, he can no longer withdraw it, and she has to go to Yerushalayim and drink the Mei Sotah. He can no longer say, I didn't want to warn my wife. I don't want her to be usher to me. Before she's secluded, yes. After seclusion, no. And I think this really ties into the two aspects. That's why every Sotah needs two different things. We talked at the beginning of the Sotah, right? According to Rabbi Yeshua, not according to Rabbi Yeshua, you need two Eidim for the Kinoi and two Eidim for the Stira. Two Eidim is representative of Davar Sheba Erva. Right, the warning, the husband has to warn her. If he doesn't warn her, and Eidim see that she's secluded with another man, that she was suspicious of being around, that doesn't introduce the Parsha of Sotah, right? She doesn't have to go to Yerushalayim. She doesn't have to go to Sotah. It's only first there's a warning. So the warning is really, right, when she goes ahead and she secludes herself against her husband's warning, that's really the rebellion against her husband. However, the seclusion herself at the time of Bia, that's really an Isser of Hashem. It's Raglaim Ladavar. We assume there's a good chance that she committed adultery, which is forbidden union, much like every other arayos in the Torah, forbidden union. You're not supposed, in a certain sense, it's abominable for a woman to be with two men, to be married or having relations with two men at the same time. She can only be married to one man. That's the way of the world. The way of the world is men can have more than one wife, according to the Torah. It's very clear. But a woman, the Gemara says in Kedushin, it's not the derech of an isha. It's abominable for a woman to be with two husbands. Now, people will tell you there's no difference between polygamy and polyandry, but polygamy is a man having more than one wife. Polyandry is a woman having more than one husband. That's abominable. So you have two aspects over here. You have the abomination, and that's really seclusion. Because seclusion, we assume already the adultery probably happened. But the fact that kinoi, passing on Rabbi Yeshua, the kinoi itself, the warning, right, is done through the husband, right, in front of two Eidim, to Davar Sheba Erba, shows that this other aspect of mal, rebellion against the husband. The husband warned her, and yet she secluded herself with that. So therefore, the husband, it's a combination. Every case of adultery, in the case of Sotah, thank you, Rivka, my daughter is introducing herself. Every point of Sotah is really two different things. There's two different aspects of Me'ilah, of rebellion. Thank you, Saitzivya. My daughter is very interested in this year. There's two acts of rebellion. There's a rebellion against Hashem, and there's a rebellion against your husband. So stop. I'm giving a share. So there's a rebellion against your husband. So the kinoi, both of them are Davar Sheba. The kinoi, the husband has the ability to retract. But before the seclusion, once the seclusion happened, that's already a me'ilah against Hashem. That's rebellion against Hashem. She probably committed adultery. Before probably committed adultery, so the husband has the ability to waive that, to retract that kinoi, that warning, because half of it is me'ilah against the husband, and if he wants to retract it, he can retract that because it's bein adam l'chaveru, not bein adam l'makom, part of it. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.